Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into EC in China.
Mm.
Basically, ordering your everyday groceries, meat, vegetables, fish on your phone, and, well, getting them delivered fresh within about an hour.
Yeah, really fast.
Now, you might know services like Amazon Fresh elsewhere, but what's happening in China is kind of taking it to another level.
It really is.
So, our mission today, unpack the key ideas, the concepts that have really put China out front in this whole space.
Exactly. And this isn't just, quick grocery delivery. It's a fundamental shift in how city dwellers in China get their fresh food.
Right.
We'll focus on the two main models driving it. That's like a front-end warehouse model and Theory, which is more of a store-warehouse integration.
Okay, let's set the scene a bit. The sheer scale of this EC market in China is just enormous.
It's huge.
For the big e-commerce players in cities, where traditional online retail is maybe getting a bit saturated, fresh groceries are this massive untapped opportunity.
Absolutely. The market for fresh food online is actually like many times larger
Yeah.
than for general e-commerce stuff.
Wow.
It's a huge prize. But delivering fresh food has its own unique challenges, right? Compared to, say, books or electronics.
Definitely.
Your traditional e-commerce logistics, the big centralized warehouses, they struggle. You need a really solid cold chain.
Right. Refrigeration all the way.
Exactly. Refrigerated storage, transport, plus incredibly tight delivery times are needed. And you have issues with, well, unattended deliveries.
Yeah.
You can't just leave milk sitting out.
Makes sense. Okay, so let's dig into that first innovation, the front-end warehouse model. The big name here is Daily Youxian. The core idea seems pretty straightforward, but really effective.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Just imagine a dense network of small, local, refrigerated warehouses, placed very strategically close to where people live, usually within a 1 to 3 kilometer radius.
So hyper-local hubs.
Pretty much.
So the process is order on the app and boom, groceries arrive within an hour, delivered by electric bike, often in insulated boxes.
That's the model. And that 1 hour promise, it's actually incredibly important.
Why is that so key?
Well, think about it. That short window dramatically reduces the chance of a missed delivery. In dense Chinese cities, someone's much more likely to be home or nearby within that specific hour.
Ah, okay. That makes the whole rapid delivery thing actually work economically.
Right. It might be tougher for places where people are more spread out.
Yeah, I can see that. It really paints a picture of changing daily habits, doesn't it?
Totally.
Like deciding dinner on the subway ride home, placing an order, and the food arrives just after you walk in. No more last-minute supermarket runs.
Exactly that. It replaces that spontaneous trip. And the scale of Daily Youxian is pretty impressive.
How big are we talking?
They're in 20 cities, cover over 1,500 delivery zones, and have something like 2.7 million monthly active users just for their app.
Wow. It sounds almost like a convenience store model, but without any customers actually going inside, just for delivery.
That's a great way to put it. These warehouses are usually quite small, maybe 100, 150 square meters.
Oh.
Yeah, and stocking around 1,000 different items, or SKUs.
Okay, 1,000 SKUs. How does that compare?
Well, a normal supermarket might have tens of thousands. So yeah, it really emphasizes that delivery specialized mini convenience store idea, focused inventory.
And what's flying off the virtual shelves? What are the most popular things?
Interestingly, it's often stuff like fruits, drinks, and processed foods, things that are quick, convenient, maybe ready to eat or almost ready.
Mm.
And their user base is very young. Over 80% are under 35.
Okay, so it really clicks with busy, younger professionals who want speed and convenience above all else?
Seems that way.
Yeah.
But the source material does flag a future challenge for them.
Which is?
Declining birth rates, particularly among the sort of Gen Z or Zero generation in China. Daily Youxian needs to figure out how to attract older shoppers too.
Right, they can't rely solely on the under 35s forever, so how are they tackling that?
They're adapting. They've started rolling out larger warehouses, more like 300 to 500 square meters with a much bigger selection, over 3,000 SKUs.
Okay, tripling the variety.
Yeah, and crucially, adding more fresh ingredients. Things like vegetables, meat, fish, the staples that older consumers who maybe cook more from scratch tend to buy.
And I read something about even bigger central warehouses too, like 30,000 SKUs.
Exactly. The thinking there is these huge central hubs act as feeders. They can supply the smaller front-end warehouses, maybe with next-day delivery, ensuring those local spots have access to a much, much wider range of goods.
Fascinating, a multi-tiered approach. Okay, so that covers BaaS.
Yeah.
Now let's switch gears to the store warehouse integration model. The main player here is Hema, Fresh, part of Alibaba.
Mm-hmm.
Hema, this sounds fundamentally different because it involves an actual physical store.
It really is different. The core idea is blending a physical shop, where you can walk around, with a dedicated warehouse operation inside that same building. It's designed from the ground up to handle both walk-in customers and online orders.
A true hybrid.
Yeah.
What's Hema's footprint like?
Also pretty significant. They're in 26 cities now, with around 200 stores.
Okay.
And their SKU count is over 6,000, so that puts them more in the range of a small supermarket. Online, they have about 1.5 million monthly active app users.
What strikes me as really interesting here is that dual nature. People can actually go in, pick up the apples, check the fish. That must build a lot of trust, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's a critical advantage, especially, in a market where food safety has sometimes been a concern. Being able to physically see and touch the fresh stuff, that offers reassurance.
Yeah, I can see that being a big draw.
But at the same time, they offer that super convenient delivery, typically within a 3-kilometer radius.
Yeah.
And aiming for just 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Wow.
Very fast.
And is the customer base different from Daily Youxian's?
Yes, quite different. Hema sees much wider adoption among people aged 25 and over. That's over 90% of their users.
90%.
Yeah. And that probably ties directly back to what you said, the trust from being able to inspect the goods in store. It appeals more, perhaps, to a slightly older group.
The source also mentioned these in-store food courts they have, selling meals made with Hema's own ingredients, apparently quite cheap. What's the play there?
Ah, that's a very clever strategic move.
How so?
By offering these affordable, tasty meals made right there, Hema's basically giving you a live demo of their ingredient quality.
Ah, like a try before you buy for the raw ingredients.
Exactly. You taste how fresh the fish is in the prepared dish. Maybe you trust it more when you order it online later. It gets people into the store, showcases quality, and encourages those online orders down the line. It's a smart loop.
And it seems to be working for them. The numbers are pretty wild, something like a 60% online order rate.
Yep, around 60%. And they claim their sales per square meter are 4 times higher than traditional supermarkets.
4 times. That's incredible for retail.
It really is. It just shows how powerful that integrated model can be, capturing both kinds of shopping trips, the planned online order and the in-person visit.
So if we look at the whole picture, it really feels like a Daily Youxian with the front-end warehouses and Hema Fresh with the store integration. These are the two main contenders, really reshaping how people get fresh food in urban China. It really underlines that shift groceries are no longer just something you buy, but something that gets delivered incredibly quickly.
Absolutely. They're the two dominant forces defining this space right now. And it's also worth noting who's backing them.
Right, the tech giants are involved.
Yeah. Daily Youxian has funding from Tencent, while Hema, as we said, is Alibaba. So this whole grocery battle is also part of that bigger tech rivalry playing out.
Makes sense. The source does give a nod to other models, which I think is like community group buying.
Yeah, often with local pickup points.
And just traditional e-commerce sites selling some fresh stuff too. But it sounds like the real disruptive energy and the main action is around these two models we focused on.
That's definitely the read. While those other models exist and have their place, here and tier are where the big innovation and competition are happening in on-demand fresh groceries in China's cities.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we've looked at two pretty distinct but clearly successful strategies here. You've got the team model, like Daily Youxian, laser-focused on speed and pure convenience through that network of local delivery-only warehouses, really appealing to that younger, digital-first crowd.
Right. And then conversely, you have the Keep a Tie approach, championed by Hema Fresh, which skillfully blends the trust and experience of a physical store with the back-end efficiency for rapid online delivery. And that seems to resonate more with a slightly older group who value seeing the goods.
It's really clear that China is, well, pushing the envelope here, finding new ways to solve the fresh grocery delivery puzzle, driven by things like e-commerce saturation in other areas, and just this growing demand for ultimate convenience.
Definitely. What's really insightful, I think, is how these models have specifically tackled the unique problems of perishable goods delivery, while also catering to different types of shoppers. And maybe that leaves a thought for you, the listener. Thinking about these decentralized warehouse models or these integrated store warehouse setups that are working in China, what potential could similar ideas have in your own local area? Could they solve some of the same logistics or consumer preference challenges we see elsewhere? It makes you wonder, could these Chinese innovations be a preview of how we all might be getting our groceries in the future? Definitely some food for thought.